Welcome to Real Estate Success DFW, the podcast where top producing agents from Dallas-Fort Worth come together to share their stories and strategies behind their success. I'm Shaune Corbett, your host, and with over 300 million sold in the local real estate market and the honor of being best of breed multiple times, I know what it takes to make it in this market. Each episode, we're going to dive into the world of real estate, learning from the very best in the industry. If you're ready to level up your game, we're in the right place. Let's get started. Hey everyone, Shaune Corbett here, Real Estate Success DFW. I've got a special guest. I've got Nathan Clark out of Rhode Island. How are you, Nathan?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Nathan Clark, I don't know if any of you know very many agents that are selling 500 and 600 houses a year. You know, we're breaking into that 10 million GCI mark. But Nathan Clark has, and I've looked at his history, I've looked at the back records, have to verify, right? We got trust but verify. And he is definitely delivering. I think this is going to be a really fun video and opportunity. And he's doing things that every single person out there can do. It's not rocket science. He's not found the special widget that's going to get us right to the goal and we don't have to do any work. It takes some work, but it also takes real value add and a value add proposition to buyers and sellers. And he's going to talk to us about how any one of us can make that a part of our business. So Nathan, let's just jump right in. I don't usually have a lot of delay in here. I go right at it. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
One of the things I like to start with is kind of like, how in the heck, why are you selling real estate? I mean, we could have done anything. I know when you were growing up, when you were in high school and going to college, you said, man, I want to be a real estate agent, right? Is that your model?
Yeah, that was, I kind of landed in real estate like most people. I failed at a lot of other things, and then I got to real estate. I didn't go to college. I went to high school, did a lot of the jobs in between, and then eventually realized real estate was a good opportunity.
I find people either, they don't intentionally get there, but unless their family is in it. That's usually one of the exceptions. But most of the time, you know, we end up in some other flight pattern, and then all of a sudden, you would sound like you'd be good at selling real estate. Okay, well, let me try that out. Why not? It doesn't take too much to get a real estate license, and now I can sell big, expensive homes and then retire in 5 years. Is that how it worked for you? Were you retired in 5 years?
Yeah, no, I got into real estate. Yeah, and I was pretty successful right away. My father was in real estate when I started, and that's what kind of, like you said, got me into it. I tried doing a lot of things as I was growing up. My father working in real estate, and he was just never able to make it to baseball games, didn't have any free time, any hobbies, any of that stuff. And that really put me in a situation where I never wanted to do real estate. Because I valued my free time. Yeah, but after doing a lot of jobs, trying a lot of different things, I realized business, and I kind of failed at everything else. And so I went to my dad. I was like, Dad, let me work with you in real estate. And he told me no. He said, you need to go do some other sales and learn some rejection. And so he said, go sell cars. So he made me go sell cars. He didn't make me. He was like, if you want to do it, go sell cars, see if you like that rejection. And then real estate's just worse. And, so I did that. And I did that for probably about 6 months, 7 months, got my license, got into real estate. And I did pretty well. I would do open houses. And I think my first year, this was about 2004, I sold about 30 homes. And I kept on doing that, 30, 35 homes. And then this thing in 2007 happened, 2008, the market crashed. It was the Great Recession. There was nothing great about it. And everything fell apart. But luckily, in 2005, 2006, I started building a team with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. At that time, Craig Proctor, learning systems and teams and processes. And that was really something that I started building in about 2005, 2006, and went from selling 20 homes to 60 homes, 70 homes a year myself, and then started building a team. And 2008 happened. We kind of already had the foundation for a team set up, was able to start growing from there. But, that's how I got in.
And there's a lot to unpack with these things, right? I mean, it's not, I can go join another brokerage and then things are going to automatically work. If they don't have systems and processes, sometimes you're going to run into the same problem you have at your current brokerage. You've really got to have something that's going to create that opportunity for you to be able to really add value to buyers and sellers. I want to get into a little bit of that, what you were talking about. So you worked for another brokerage at the time, which many of us have, and then you did well, and then you made that transition. You found this opportunity, and what really made it work well for you? What made that light switch? Why'd you go from 30, 40 to 60, 70? What happened?
Well, we went to about 60, 70 transactions. And this was when, Zillow wasn't around really. Internet leads, like I laugh kind of looking at how easy real estate is nowadays compared to what it was when I started. I remember you'd go to the town hall, have to print out the field card, get all the details on the property, drive by all the comps, print the comps out, or carry the book of MLS with you. There's a lot of work you'd put into it. So selling 70, 80, 120 homes a year was a lot of houses back then. This is just when teams were really kind of starting out. And so we get to about 120, 130 teams a year. Really came just to math with it. I was at Remax, and at the time we were paying desk rentals, 95-5 split, and all these things. We were giving probably about $120,000 away to Remax a year. And we were already number one in New England at the time. We probably doing about 150, 180 deals a year. And I was like, I think I could just do this myself. And I was kind of itching at that. And then, switched over and just kept my name, the Nathan Clark team, and switched over and just dropped the balloon and left. And I didn't see any difference whether there was a balloon on my name or not, because people were calling me. They weren't calling for my brand.
That's right. Yeah. So you're telling me the balloon didn't sell houses for you? I'm shocked. I'm totally
No,
shocked.
I found it was full of a lot of hot air. So there was just kind of like the branding that they had. And what I did find is I was actually helping selling a lot of the other agents' houses because my name was so big. I was marketing my name and Remax at the time that I was just building their brand up. And what I'd also find out is if someone listed with a Remax agent and the house didn't sell, I didn't have a shot to pick that up as an expired listing, which was a huge cornerstone of my business in 2008, 2012, when most houses would expire because, you're with Remax. I already had them. They didn't work. So I want to get the call. And we blew up. I went from 200, let's say 180 deals leaving Remax. In 2011, 2012, we had our best year ever, over 200 transactions, 250 transactions, 200 to every year, adding more and more transactions, to joining YHSGR, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. That's really where we started to make the biggest pivot. In 2018, 2019, I joined Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. We went from about 350 transactions to over 600 transactions in a couple of years. 650 transactions in a couple of years. Because one thing that we did find is the name matters when the name makes a difference. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, like they say is
Yeah. Remax doesn't tell you that they sell real estate. We all just know it because they're a pretty big brand, but it doesn't tell you, and they're not offering any value to you.
exactly. And our USP, our differentiator in the market was always Your Home Sold Guaranteed or I'll buy it. So it really just made sense to have the name Your Home Sold Guaranteed because our name was our promise. That's what we were known for. And, that's what we're really good at is offering offers, marketing that make us stand out. And with having our name match up with our offers was just a no-brainer.
I love it. And most agents, the business runs them, they don't run the business, right? So going back to kind of what we were talking about earlier is that you've got agents that don't have any free time, like your dad, where we have to be available to our clients 24/7 and there's no system, there's no team. And if we don't have any of those things in place, then you are every bit of the business. And I know something you and I have talked about offline is, companies have intentionally separate departments to handle different areas of their business. If you, as an agent, are getting the signs, showing the houses, writing the contracts, doing all these other things that don't add much value to your client, then you're losing money per hour and you're not able to accomplish, you're going to cap out pretty fast. You know,
100%.
maybe at 5 or 6 houses a month. If you want to grow it as a business and you want to get to double that, triple that, you're going to have to scale. And I know you have a lot to share on how to really add value there. So why don't you pick it up there?
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the biggest things that attracted me to Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty was actually a process to build a real business that runs without your constant involvement, actually something you could sell in real estate. And yeah, I don't mean you were just talking about it. It's like, the retirement plan for real estate agents is most real estate agents plan is just going to do it till one day they die behind the desk. There's no retirement party, right, that you've ever been to for a real estate agent. So I was really interested at the beginning of saying, hey, listen, I work really hard, build something that runs without me. I just need to be shown that. And finding the systems and the processes was really big. But it always comes down to is it's not always being the best agent. It's being the best marketer, right? And having the best offers to attract customers to you. And I think a lot of people miss that in real estate. And I think, first of all, talking to the right people that understand is most agents sell 5 or 6 houses or less a year. That's not enough money to make a retirement on. And most people get their business from a sphere of influence, right? Is meaning the people that they know that's in their backyard. They play baseball, their kids play in teams with them or whatever, and they sell 5 or 6 houses a year and they're happy with it. And that's good for some people, but the people like myself, that wants to make an income that they could live on so they can come out of it and have another interest outside of real estate, you got to be able to make money, which means you got to attract customers. And so with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, being able to attract those customers started with really marketing and being different than most people out there. Where if you look at most people's advertising, right, what does most agents say? Is stuff like, hey, I'm number one, call me, we're the biggest, I have a big balloon next to my head. Okay. Those things look good, I guess, for image advertising, but it does little to resonate with the customer of reasons why they should call you. And you got to say that most sellers and buyers are tuned into one radio station, WIFM. What's in it for me? They want to know, why should I call you? Why should I use you versus all the other choices I have out there, including doing nothing at all? And the number one differentiator that we've used for years that stands out and what we're known for is Your Home Sold Guaranteed or I'll buy it. While most agents are running around telling you the accolades and their alphabet soup after their name of classes they took for being a realtor, that's not real benefit. And they think it is. I'm hardworking. I always answer the phone. I never sleep, things like that. That may sound good, but that's not what customers are looking for. They're looking for a real reason to do business with you. And what we're really good at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty is risk reversal, is basically giving the consumer the confidence that they know if they use us, that X is going to happen. In this case, they know using us, their home is sold. We're giving them certainty. And that's what a lot of customers want, where they know if they list with me that their home is sold, and if not, we're going to buy it for this price. And that's set up front at the time of listing. Okay. But we don't do just that. We give them a lot of certainty throughout the transaction. We give them performance guarantees, okay, where most agents lack of being able to do things like they're going to communicate with them. Okay, we give them guarantees. Like, what's the number one problem in real estate? If you survey customers, what was the number one complaint?
Communication.
Communication, right? So we give you a communication guarantee. We'll guarantee that we're going to be in touch with you every day within 24 hours. You give us a call, guaranteed. Okay, or we'll give you $1,000, right? No one else is willing to do that, but we put that in writing. It's part of our listing agreement. It's right in the listing agreement. We give them a communication guarantee. We give them a days on market guarantee that we'll have the home sold within this many days, guaranteed. We'll have the homes, they'll get this much of the asking price. We guarantee them 100% of the asking price, or we'll pay them the difference. Okay, we do that all the time. So we come out there, we say, hey, your house is worth $450,000. We're going to get you $450,000. If I get you $440,000, I'm taking that difference out of my commission. So you basically just got $450. I'll take the 10 grand out of my commission so you're made whole. And that happens all the time. People are like, well, do you actually do that? I'm like, every month it happens. It's part of doing business, right? If we're off on the price, okay, that's our bad. And we guaranteed that up front. We do the same thing at the timetable on the market, price, and many other things. But all these things are differentiators, okay, that if you're going on a listing appointment and you're competing with me, my team and I, and you show up and you're like, hey, listen, I'm just going to take pictures of the house and throw it in MLS and pray it sells. And then I show up and I have all this stuff and all these guarantees and assurances that you're certainly going to get the home sold for top dollar, least amount of hassle. Who do you think they're going to choose?
Yeah, I mean, I want to really talk about that for just a moment.
Sure.
You're right. I mean, most Zillow ads, most agents, they tell their backstory. I'm here, I'm local, I grew up here, I'm friends with everybody, and I know the area. Those are not value adds to the end client. That's not going to make them feel warm and fuzzies. Okay, so you know the street I'm looking on, but what are you going to do if what I'm looking for doesn't happen? This is a very uncertain time. You were doing well in the worst crisis that we've had, I think, since you and I have been in business, is that 2008, 2009. It was hard. Homes were not selling. So what do homes that are not selling, what do the owners have a problem with? They need to know that their home is going to sell. And that's what they need right now. They need to know that their home is going to sell. So that's a big value proposition. So you go to your profile, which I have, and you've got like 6 or 7 guarantees that you're providing to both the buyer and the seller instead of, I grew up in Rhode Island. I know all the people. I've sold, 200 houses in the last 5 years. I know it well. That does not give certainty to a buyer or a seller. So that does really separate you. Do you have anything else you want to add to that?
Well, I think, that's exactly what you're trying to do is separate. You're trying to differentiate you from everybody else out there, right? And you're going to do things that, well, we just do things that our competition just will never do. And, that's what makes us different. That's really what this industry really needs. Let's be honest with you. It's just a very highly unprofessional business. And that's what makes the reputation of the industry is so tough to go against. We're placed somewhere between divorce attorneys and used car salesmen because a lot of the things of people get into this business and it's kind of like a side job for them, and they're just playing in this business. And we come out there and we're just like, hey, this is our profession, and we're going to be professionals about it, and we're going to be different than everybody else. And so, what's a really good thing if you look at the stats in real estate and you look at what the success ratio is, we play a game here on our team and we do everything opposite than what the standard is in the industry because the standard in the industry is pathetic. It's like 95% fail rate. 99% of brokers and agents make under $100,000 a year. And most agents and brokers are just basically scraping by to make a living. We don't want to do any of those things. And so we do everything opposite. Recently, we dropped out of being part of NAR. We're not part of National Association of Realtors. It finally opened up in our area that we didn't have to be part of NAR to be part of MLS, which was the only reason that we wanted to be part of NAR. So we dropped out. And we assume, just like all the other moves we make, will make us stand out and be different than everybody else out there. One of the things that you can look at with NAR is the only people that can't pay co-brokes to sell houses is NAR agents. Okay, so if I want to offer co-brokes a bonus to sell the property, I can because I'm not part of NAR. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to run back and do that right away, okay? But who knows, 6 months from now, I want to start offering agents compensation to sell my properties, right?
It's another tool in the belt.
So just be different than what everybody else does out there.
Yeah, you want to be in the driver's seat and make the decision if that's what you want to be a part of your business or not. That's a big separation for sure.
And the way NAR is doing business and telling you how to advertise houses and trying to make us all the same, this whole industry has become a commodity of everybody doing the same thing. That no wonder why there's such a pressure on fees that you collect, right? That people can't make a living, coming by. And that's one of the things I think where the industry's gone, where it was very, business oriented people are getting in here and is entrepreneurial and people come up with great ideas where the walls and confinement of these so-called organizations, I do the air quotes, right, of telling you how to do business from people that aren't successful in business, but are really just trying to keep a monopoly on the amount of agents that are in there. They make these rules to try to keep you all in the same box, and it stops you from being creative. And then it also stops you from being profitable. Like if you look at the numbers, the average agent makes under $50,000 a year. I pay my secretaries more than $50,000 a year. So these agents that come into business, why are they doing this? What's it being attracted from? And I think now they're telling you how to sell a listing. It's become such a commodity is that you take a listing and everybody takes pictures and everybody puts a sign in the front lawn. Everybody throws it into a server called MLS. There's other ways to sell real estate. And MLS wants to tell you, NAR wants to tell you is no, you have to put it into our computers. You can't sell real estate any other way. This New York City doesn't have MLS. There's other areas all around the country that don't have MLS and houses still sell, but we've just become robots of this is how you operate. I challenge anybody that wants to be different is to be different. Make a line down, a piece of paper and say, hey, this is what everybody else does. And I'm going to do the different. I'm going to do everything different than everybody else. And I guarantee you'll find success overnight by being different. And it starts with the offers you're making and your marketing.
I want to talk about one thing, and you're exactly right. I mean, about all those things. Being different and a differentiator is going to make a big difference. I know you and I want to talk a little bit about differentiation and separating yourself, but for the ones that make it in the top 1%, and those agents are hitting, $350,000 GCI, which I know for you should be very easy, but that is at the top, working your sphere, connecting with everybody, and not spending any money and just focusing on that. You can reach that $350,000 GCI, but that's not really a livable wage either. And you're going to have to do something separate in order to make you a business that is sellable. Because me as the agent running a small, doing my own thing, I if I die, my business dies. It's not
Mm.
worth anything to anybody else. So if you don't have systems and processes, you don't really have a business. You just have a personality, right? And that's part of the things that I think most agents don't really absorb. If you want to get to $1 million GCI, you're going to have to scale and you're going to have proper, systems and processes. So can you talk a little bit about the systems and processes and things that take you from the $300,000 GCI successful agent? They are, but they can't retire, they can't sell their business, and they can't get to a million GCI. So what do you tell them?
Right. Yeah. You need to have systems. There needs to be a process. Like everything we do, from when somebody calls in to the office, has a trackable system with it. There's a KPI that we have, meaning KPI would be like for the front office, they would be how many rings before they answer the phone. So we have a KPI of 2 rings or less. The phone has to be answered. So there's a system for that. And if you look at any successful business out there, McDonald's comes to mind. It's run by a bunch of teenagers who can't clean their bedroom, yet it's $1 billion company. Why? Because it's systems. You got to have great people to run a company. We have great people that work here, but you have to have great systems because the systems is what manages the people. I think I saw a stat one time said that the average American forgets how to do their job between Friday and Monday, right? So 80% of people hate doing their job, and most people forget how to do their job between Friday and Monday. How could you run a team where you'd be basically retraining everybody Monday how it does it? Well, you have a system and you have a handbook and training of this is how we answer the phone, this is how we do these things. And that's how we've been very successful of always trying to build a system and improve that system as we go along for everything that we do. So we have systems that we track from how we go on a listing presentation to how we go on a buyer's presentation, how we answer the phone, how we convert an appointment, how we get price reductions, how we install a sign, how we take photos, to the descriptions that we write about the property. And everything we do, we test and we split test to say, is there a better way that we could do this? Let's test it, not just my opinion, because a lot of us run our business by licking your thumb and seeing where the wind is and go, okay, this is how I'll write my description today, or I'll have AI write my description. You should really be testing things to say, hey, how many phone calls did I get off of running this ad on Facebook? Or how many calls am I getting on my listings on Zillow? Right? How are you tracking those? Right? So, I mean, it comes to a lot of detail. There's not stuff that we just kind of learned overnight, but we train, everybody at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty the same way. We all use the same systems, right? We teach people how to track, how to know what's working, what's not, what words work the best. That it does work the best, and that gives our clients the best results and makes them come back and do business with us again. So yeah, you got to have a system on everything that you do.
Well, let's land it with you, right? Nathan, how many hours? So you're doing $10 million of GCI a year. How many hours a week are you working?
I work about 5 hours a week in the business out
Okay.
there.
So
Uh,
if any of you can afford 5 hours a week of work time and you have a business doing $10 million of GCI, which means, Nathan, if something happens to you today, would your business close down?
no, I was just away for 2 weeks. I came back
And
to
they
work.
didn't even know you were gone.
They don't want me here. I got to get involved with we look at a lot of the numbers. We run the company. We're really good at tracking. We're really good at looking at the numbers, knowing what's happening in the market, what's happened to the listings, what's happened to the buyers, and all the metrics in between. And so I kind of look at those numbers. I say, okay, this is the tweaks we're going to make, and this is the outcome we think these tweaks will do. And it's kind of like flying a plane or look at a race car. You kind of look at your gauges, and your gauges are telling you what's happening in the business. And that's what I watch. And we throw different levers and we see what happens when we throw those levers based on past data that we've pulled in, running it like a real business out there. And that's the idea of actually building something that's sellable. And that's where a lot of people really miss is if you're gonna build a business. And I'm not talking to people that just like, hey, want to sell 5 to 6 houses a year. If you're saying, hey, I want to build a business that makes millions of dollars a year, impacts thousands of people every year, you're able to help the community, give back. We give back tremendously in our community and across the world. We just opened an orphanage in India. It'll be built in February. We just finalized that. being able to do things like that, you have to be able to make income to do that. And to be able to have people, you need to make income to hire those people. So if you're going to do those things, okay, build it right from the beginning, but also build it in mind that it's something that somebody want to buy, that's so valuable they want to buy. Because you're not going to want to do this forever. You're not going to want to be 70, 80 years old, still picking up the phone, trying to sell houses for most people. So do it in the beginning is build something that's sellable. And to build something that's sellable, it has to be able to operate without the key man involved.
I love it. That's a great advice. I think most, I would say, probably less than 100 in the US can be in a position where they could say that and say, my business is sellable to other people, not just collecting some referrals on the remaining SOI that's, outstanding. Because that's the only other way they can sell their business is they collect SOI calls and say, hey, let's go 50-50 on these all the way until you close out every SOI and then you're out of business. That's not going to be very sellable. Let's talk a couple things that you in yourself and your experience, you've become a really masterful person, or even could say genius. In one aspect, I know we raise the bar so high that it gets people. Okay, what's he going to say? And one of them I know you and I talked about is the marketing aspect. You talk about split testing. You talk about really hyper focusing on what are people responding to. There are no agents posting things for split test purposes. They think it's a waste of money. They don't see the value in it. That's one example. But in your marketing, it's not just split testing, even though you've hyper focused to your value adds, but you might rewrite it in two different ways, put more graphics in one, and do different things like that. And we find out later that graphics don't sell anything. It's content that relate directly to the buyer, I'm sure. But I'll let you kind of talk about this. So marketing is a special place that you've really hyper focused on.
That's the business that you're in. And I think people don't like marketing because it has a dirty word almost like, lying or anything like that. But listen, you're in the marketing business. People hire us to what? Market their house better than they can. Anybody can put a sign in the front lawn. They're hiring you because you should be able to do it better than them. You're a professional. So if you don't think you're in the marketing business, just get out now because you are. And you need to get really good at marketing. And marketing is really technical. The biggest problem I see with agents, they'll do, for like example, you send out a postcard. Okay, you don't know if that postcard's working on, and most agents don't even know how to track their postcards to know how many phone calls they got offered exactly, besides them just tallying numbers. Okay, but we have unique phone numbers on all our ads, every single one of them. From a sign, if I put a sign out there, and we put our sign out there, for example, our a different like program we're running on there. Let's say we have 3 different signs on our front lawn. Every phone number on the sign will be a different number. And I know which sign they called off. They called off our talking house, or calling off our certified pre-owned sign, or they're calling off of our texting signs. All different numbers. And I know how many calls we get from it. And if we change one thing at a time, does that go up or does that go down? We do the same thing with our advertising online. So a lot of times, for example, I can think of one with postcards. If you see most agents, they make their postcards beautiful, right? There's a big picture of them, and usually a really big picture of them, like 80% of the postcards them. And then it's about the house, okay? And it's all beautiful gold and foil and the guild of advertising right there. And
It's
I
eye
used to advertise.
candy. It gets attention, but it doesn't get closures. It doesn't get calls.
It doesn't get called. So I've tested it. Okay, black and white postcards and color postcards. What do you think pulls better?
I mean, you would think color.
Ugly always wins, and I didn't believe it for the longest time. In fact, the CEO of Your Home Sold
Yeah, no
Guarantee.
one wants to take that chance because postcards are not the cheapest way to do it. So, am I going to spend 3 grand on postcards that aren't attractive? That's a
We did it earlier this year. I tested every year. 300% difference in ROI. Black and white, ugly black and white. Same offer,
Nathan.
same wording. Black and white versus color. Black and
Let's break
white.
it down different, right? So you're offering programs and things that no one else can really compete specifically with. But let's talk about the postcard element, right? If everyone sent out black and white postcards, you probably wouldn't make much impact. But everyone puts all this time and energy into creating beautiful things. When they see something really basic, it's the differentiator, right? When you think if everyone were sending out really basic, ugly postcards, you wouldn't separate yourself. But that's one differentiator. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm sure there's more to the psychology of it where you're just focused on a message, not to trick them into buying you or to calling you.
Yeah, no, you nailed it, right? You want to be differentiated. You want to be different in the market. You want to jump up and down. And there's 8,000 realtors in Rhode Island, right, to choose from. Why have we been number one for the last 16 years in a row? Because we stand out. While most agents are doing things that They don't know if they work or not. We're testing them, but we do everything that way. Is we're always being the disruptor. We're always going to try to be testing things of what's working, what's not working, and be the leading edge of what's happening and what's not. And it's worked really well for us. And I always tell people the same thing. For 16 years in a row, we've been number one. We'll be 17 years this year in a row. We've been number one in Rhode Island. Why don't most people copy what I was doing? But you got nobody in Rhode Island that copies what I do because it's different. And it's a lot easier just to do what everybody else does out there. And that's the whole crux of everything right there. Stop being like everybody else and be different. Okay. And that's how you attract people to come do business with you. And so that's what we're always trying to do is try and disrupt the market, trying to disrupt the industry and do things different to make things better, to give better results, for it.
I love it, Nathan. It's been awesome having you on. I want to ask you something. Do you have any hobbies?
Yes. One of the blessings of being able to have a business that runs without you is you get free time and you find free time to spend the money that you make. And there's no better way to take a large pile of money and make it into a small pile of money than racing cars. And so, and if you really want to make that pile of money shrink very fast, you get your wife into racing cars, and then you get two. That you end up having 4 race cars. Then you get a race car company, and it's fun. We have a good time with it, and we're always looking for sponsors if anybody wants to sponsor our race car. But my wife and I, we spend a lot of time racing, drag racing our cars, and having fun doing that stuff. We have a 12-year-old son, and we travel a lot. We just got back from traveling last week for 2 weeks. And if not then, we're hopping in an RV and going up and down the East Coast and towing the race cars with us and racing all over America. Those are the one things I have a lot of fun doing. And at the same time, I enjoy the real estate part of it because I've always been into marketing my whole life. And so I really found that niche of doing those things that I enjoy jumping in and come up with new ideas.
I love it. Man, I tell you, it's incredible that you get to experience a lot of those things. I always ask the guests if there's something they want to promote. Most of the time it's a book or a podcast or something that they have going on. But Nathan said, well, I've got an expensive hobby. I do race car driving and I've got race cars. If I could pick up sponsors. So that's what he actually put out there. So any of you want to sponsor race cars and do something with Nathan Clark, he is an exceptional human being giving back in a large way because of what's been given to him. And I love that. I appreciate you jumping on, and we will probably do this again because I think you've got a lot of good insights. And I know we only scratched the surface on a few of the things, but I think that's a good value add for agents in general. So thank you for doing this with me, Nathan.
I appreciate it. Yeah, if there's anybody I can help out there, I'm more than happy to open it up. I'm an open book. We share a lot of the stuff in the groups that we're part of with it, and love to meet with you, talk with you, and help you out.
Yeah, and I can agree with that. I called Nathan yesterday and he gave me an hour. And I mean, I drilled him with all kinds of questions. But so thank you so much, Nathan. For any of you that are watching this for the first time and have not subscribed, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Real Estate Success DFW. I will bring Nathan Clark and other really successful agents that are willing to share on how they became so successful in real estate. Until then, have a high performance week and thank you. That wraps up another episode of Real Estate Success DFW. I hope you're leaving with new insights that push your real estate career forward. If you enjoyed the show, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with fellow agents who's ready to succeed. And if you're interested in working together or have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me directly. My personal phone is 214-228-0383. Let's connect and make real estate success happen together. Until next time, keep pushing forward. I'm Shaune Corbett, and this is the Real Estate Success DFW. Have a high performance week.